So visual identity design. What's it all about, and why don't you just call it logo design? I know that's what you're thinking, right? But there's actually a very good reason why. A logo is just one part of your visual identity. Think of it this way, like if your logo is your face, then there's so much more that defines who you are, right? Of course, your face being your logo. Like, how do you dress? What's your hairstyle like? What accessories do you wear? All of this is important while defining your brand. And that's what we're going to dive deep into in this particular video. Our branding exercise is basically split into two halves. Our first half is a brand strategy. So in this half, it mainly deals with number one, understanding what the brand is all about, what's its vision, maybe its 5-year or 10-year plan, really getting the download from the CEOs and the founders themselves on why we're even branding or rebranding to begin with, right? Along with this, we also figured out things like what is our brand story? What's our tone of voice? Who is our target audience? How do we speak to them? And what are our brand values that we stand for? And so much more. But the main key point that a brand strategy really helps with is giving you a very clear idea on what your visual identity needs to accomplish. What do I mean by that? It basically gives you a very clear brief on how it's supposed to look like. So the reason this is important is there's a lot of misconception when it comes to art and design. And people think that, yes, branding is just like art, where you have the creative folks that come up with these crazy creative ideas and you put it together and that's what helps sell your product. No, it's not. So the main differentiation between art and design is that design has a purpose and a meaning behind it. And in order for us to figure out that meaning, we need to always be able to figure out, what is our goal or the expectation that we're setting, and then using design to help meet that expectation. That is the core of, brand identity design, and also the importance of brand strategy in it. So your brand visual language design is nothing but creating a bunch of assets that represent your brand. Now this includes your logo, your color palette, your typography, the kind of animation or illustration styles or photography for your ad campaigns. All of that is what, is a part of your visual brand identity. And of course, it's different from each brand to brand. Some brands we work with are illustration focused, and these illustrations are always chosen because it maybe helps communicate a little bit more of an abstract problem that they're solving, or gives you a specific feeling that you would normally not get with photography. Then there's going to be a very clear indication on what type of illustrations to use and how do you use them. It's the same with whether it's photography or typography, or in certain cases, if we're looking at minimalism, right? Just using space and creating copy that's going to, create an impact for your brand. So we start this exercise by basically creating 2 to 3 different mood boards. Now these mood boards are nothing but a combination of photographs and vectors and pieces of graphic design inspiration or textures, anything visual really that gives you an emotion or a feeling of, the visual direction that we want to go ahead in. What's important to note here is that your mood board is not going to be how your final branding looks like. In fact, we have no idea what your final brand is going to look like until we actually start working on it. The whole purpose of it is for everyone on the team to have a very clear idea on which direction that we want to head in. Now the final presentation is where we're going to represent or show to you different options of visual languages along with the logo for your brand based on real life use cases. What I mean by that is our presentation is always going to have mock-ups that are relevant to your industry. For example, if you're a tech company, then we're going to show you how your website could look like, or maybe some app screen mock-ups that we can do. Similarly, if you're an FMCG product, then we'll show you some ads that you can do, maybe sell on Amazon, how your packaging could look like, and your social media presence, right? All of that is something that we incorporate. So what's very important to understand here is that every brand is going to have a specially molded presentation created for it that helps you really see the potential of the direction that you choose. Once you're happy with the direction that you've selected and the visual language that speaks to the brand the most, then that's when we start working on all the other collaterals that are usually included as freebies, as well as our brand manual. Now your brand manual is going to be kind of like your Bible. It's going to have a list of rules, do's and do nots. And the main reason why we keep this and why it's so important is so that any team moving forward is always going to be able to know how to replicate everything that you do. And it's basically ensuring consistency. Because what's the point if you spend 3 months working on a rebranding exercise and as soon as another team takes it over, it looks completely different all over again, right? So that's why your brand manual is going to be super important. And just before we end our engagement is when we do a complete handover to your team. And if you have any internal design team members, then that's when we kind of explain to them everything on how we've done it and how to replicate it going forward. So a lot of people ask us, especially during our first few calls, hey, can you tell us how maybe you're envisioning the brand to be, or which colors do you think are going to look really good with our brand? Well, to be completely honest, I have no clue. And anyone that tells you otherwise, probably not the best idea. The reason being is that we firmly believe that anyone can create beautiful looking branding or aesthetic branding or even a visual language that is trendy and whatnot, right? But what's important is that you create a brand that has impact, that reaches your target audience, that converts into sales, and that people talk about. And the only way you can do that is by following a process. In fact, the only time we actually start looking at how the logo could be is once our mood boarding is done and we've selected a direction. And that's what really helps us create the brands that we do at The Bold Creative. And this process has always worked for us. So if you guys liked what we spoke about in today's video, then please give us a like, subscribe to us, maybe watch a few more that we have on our channel, right? So we're looking forward to hearing from you guys, and always happy to hear, if you have any thoughts. So yeah, keep in touch and have a great day.